My best friend Mike is someone I've known since high school. We were in the same homeroom, and from there, we were inseparable, practically brothers from different mothers. You know the drill, no secrets between us, open books to each other, our dating lives, relationships, dirty laundry, you name it. He knew everything about me, and I knew everything about him. Despite being my best friend, I'd never introduce any women I know to date him. His dating life has been an absolute train wreck. He's had 4 exes, 2 of whom cheated on him. One was sleeping around with multiple men, and the second was two-timing him with another guy for a year. He cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th. On top of that, he regularly sees prostitutes. Mike's mom is wealthy, so he's never had to work a day in his life. His mom just sends him money. Meanwhile, I was a virgin and had never had any contact with women until my current relationship. I met my girlfriend Jenny through a dating app back on January 13th, 2019. From our first date until the end of 2020, things were generally going well. We traveled a lot and spent plenty of time hanging out with Mike and his girlfriend, who had been together for around 4 years at the time. When the pandemic hit, Mike's girlfriend broke up with him and moved back to China. After that, it pretty much became just the 3 of us hanging out all the time. We'd play video games, watch movies, and chill at each other's homes. When restaurants started reopening, we'd go out to eat. Sometimes Mike would take Jenny out to grab dinner, which I didn't think much of at first, because she lived close to the places he liked to eat. I thought nothing of it, but their outings became more frequent. I started feeling uneasy as Jenny came home later and later, but I didn't question it because Mike was my best friend of 20 years, and she always sent me pictures of their food and told me they were just grabbing dinner. In January 2021, I started helping Jenny's family renovate a new house they had just bought. During this time, I had already returned to work 2 days a week, and the other 5 days I spent helping with the renovations. By the end of March, I had broken my wrist tossing out wooden planks. I underwent wrist surgery, and then Jenny's birthday came up on April 29th. I had planned a trip for her birthday that involved the 29th and 30th. On the 30th, as we were coming back home, Mike wanted to give her a birthday cake and waited for us to return. He had also gifted her a custom-engraved iPad, which she was ecstatic about. The first week of May, Jenny called me up to break up with me. Her reasons? She didn't see a future with me because I didn't make enough money. She said I was lazy and needed to find a second job. She compared me to Mike, who didn't have to work because he's rich. I was also not the first one to wish her a happy birthday at midnight. I was 2 minutes late. I asked her who had wished her a happy birthday before me, and she replied, "You don't need to know." I later found out it was Mike. A couple of weeks after the breakup, I called up Mike to confide in him about my breakup with Jenny. Before this, I had never shared any of my relationship issues with him. He had no idea I was suffering and going through this pain. Apparently, he had already invited Jenny out for dinner a few days earlier and told me he had no idea we broke up and that she didn't mention anything about me when they were together. He told me to never hesitate to reach out and that he was there for me. I took him up on that offer and either hung out with him or called him every day for at least 2 hours per phone call. The 3rd week of May, Jenny called me up wanting to get back together. I agreed. Everything seemed to be going well for the next few weeks. We talked about saving money to get a place together next year. We also planned a 3-day vacation trip with a bunch of friends, including Mike. I told Mike about it, and he gave me some advice. You need to reconsider moving in with her because she broke up with you when you broke your wrist. That's a huge red flag. She put you through hell all this time. She's never going to change. And can you truly envision the rest of your life with her? His advice was sound and reasonable, and I accepted it without hesitation. From the end of May to the 3rd week of June, I started going to therapy for my wrist post-surgery. There were a couple of cute women there that I casually told Mike about. After how Jenny had initially broken up with me and the previous issues throughout the years, I started having doubts about maintaining the relationship. I told Mike about my doubts and wondered if I should break up with Jenny and maybe ask out one of the women from therapy. He told me it was a terrible decision, advising me to keep Jenny in the dark and just ask out the women from therapy. If things worked out with them, then Jenny could be a backup until I could transition and promote the new woman to the main girlfriend position. I was extremely distraught at this thought, cried for a couple of days, and in the end, I didn't go through with it. I knew it would devastate Jenny and waste her time, and I'd hate myself for life if I did that. June, week 3. I decided to work on my relationship with Jenny and improve myself instead. I dove into online articles on relationship advice. I had multiple tabs open with titles like When to Break Up, How Do You Know If She's Worth Sticking Around For, and other sensitive topics. When Jenny came over, she saw the open tabs and started questioning me. We got into a huge fight, and she accused me of liking someone else. She told me that someone had asked her out during our relationship, but she turned him down because she was committed to me. She texted Mike saying she was no longer going on the group outing we had planned. I told her I was having doubts, but wanted to work things out and try my best. We had built something over the last 3 years, and I truly cared for her. I assured her I was in it for the long haul. We made up and decided to go on that trip. June, week 4. Mike had gotten a new apartment and was busy buying furniture and setting up equipment. He asked me to help set up his new bachelor pad. He had a couple of televisions, a table, and a bed from IKEA that I helped him put together. He had also started working out and doing cardio to lose weight, and he did a great job. After we finished putting the bed together, he thanked me. I told him, "No problem, you've been there for me every step of the way through the darkest time of my life. I would do the same for you. This is nothing." He reassured me that he never told Jenny anything during their hangouts. June 30th. This was the last time I could reach Mike by phone or text. The last time he picked up my call was earlier that day. I tried calling him later that night and texting him, but he dropped off the face of the earth. He later revealed that he was having dinner with Jenny that night and didn't want to make things awkward for her by picking up my call. This was the first time she hadn't told me they were going out for dinner, aside from the time we had broken up. July 9th. The next time I saw or contacted Mike was for the trip. He was the driver since he had the car. Previously, whenever the three of us hung out, I would sit up front with him while Jenny sat in the back seat. But this time, she said, "It's a long trip, and I get carsick," so she sat in the front the entire time. During the vacation, Mike paid for everything, all the tickets and meals. Jenny and he were together most of the time, running off to play arcade games, gamble, and disappearing from sight. Meanwhile, I was stuck hanging out with my other friends. One of them revealed that people were gossiping and taking pictures of them together, asking each other whose girlfriend she was. During the 3-day trip, I didn't have any intimate moments with Jenny. On the ride back, after everyone else had been dropped off, I was the last one in the car with Mike. He mentioned that he had gone to the same place the previous week with an ex-girlfriend, which is why he knew all the best spots to eat and have fun. We talked a bit, and I asked him why he had stopped picking up my calls. He said he was busy setting up the internet and finishing the final touches on his apartment. I soon found out that the trip he booked was originally intended for Jenny, so she wouldn't miss out on the vacation. My reconciliation with her had thrown a wrench in his plans. End of July, July 25th. My birthday was approaching, and the week before things were getting cold and distant with Jenny. She took hours to respond to texts and sometimes didn't respond at all, which she had never done before. She came to stay over the night before my birthday so we could celebrate together the following day. I waited until 12:05 a.m. before she mumbled nonchalantly, "Happy birthday." I tried to be intimate with her, but she brushed me off, something she had never done before. We finally ended up having sex, but it was our last intimate moment together. The actual birthday was a disaster. She was out of it, took me to eat, got me a present, but left halfway through the day saying she was busy and had work to complete. It was the last time I saw her in person. Combined with the recent trip, I felt terrible, and by the following week, I was pretty much ready to call it quits. Week of July 30th. The days after my birthday were a blur. I went through the motions of random texting and FaceTiming Jenny at night, but there were no real emotions behind it. On Friday, July 30th, I stopped texting her. She didn't text me either until 5 p.m. after work ended. I finally called her up, and we got into a heated argument over the phone. We never explicitly stated that we were breaking up, but we ended on a bad note. I was fed up with her attitude. I said some petty, angry things and asked her why she never got me a birthday card or a cake. Her response was, "I got you a card but didn't know what to write because I was scared you would leave me. I didn't get you a birthday cake because I was afraid this would be the last time you made a wish in front of me." I told her I didn't give a damn about her, and she hung up on me. Mid-August. I didn't contact her at all for the next 2 weeks, until she texted me to say her father was coming over to drop off my belongings and for me to return hers. Her dad didn't know what was going on and asked me to work things out with her. He said he'd love to see us reconcile and get back together and told me to keep in touch. August 28th, D-Day. From the vacation until this day, 6 weeks total after the trip, 2 months if you include the last time I had spoken to Mike aside from the trip, I kept trying to reach out to him, but he never picked up my calls or answered any texts. That day at work, one of my other close friends called me. He said Mike had called him that morning to say Jenny had moved in with him, and they were now officially dating. Mike asked him to keep it a secret from me, but my friend called me right away to tell me the truth. I was absolutely gutted. That same night, Mike finally reached out to me. He called to tell me everything. In a state of complete shock, I answered incoherently and asked stupid questions. Mike, hey, how've you been? If you haven't already realized it by now, I'm dating Jenny. It just happened. I had no choice. I was feeling suicidal if I didn't see her. Being with her made me happy. She doesn't want to see you or speak to you. I'll always have your best interest at heart. She was terrible for you, but perfect for me. I asked him why he gave her a custom iPad engraved with her name and in her favorite color, and how he even knew when her birthday was. He said he just wanted to see her happy, and it didn't mean any more than that. I found out that he had spent months snooping on her social media and stalking her Facebook feeds to find out the relevant information. I asked him when and why he started asking her out to dinner. He said, I saw that you two were already having issues. She was mistreating you and being very disrespectful. I liked her, so I saw an opening and had to take a chance and shoot my shot. I was absolutely floored when she agreed to go out with me. I asked why he never invited me along when they were going on one-on-one dinner dates and driving her to fancy restaurants with all expenses paid. He said, I didn't want to bother you. You were busy. I didn't consider those dates. I just wanted to see her because I would feel suicidal if I didn't see her. Only being close to her made me feel alive and happy. Don't worry. Until you two broke up, I never laid a hand on her, never touched her. I wouldn't do that to you. I said, you do know that is emotional cheating, right? You two have been cheating on me. His response was, if that's the way you see it, then I'm sorry. I asked if given the chance to redo this whole situation, would he readily throw me under the bus and pull this stunt again? He said, absolutely 10-10. She is my soulmate, and I'd be shocked if I don't marry her. She's a terrible match for you, but she's perfect for me. I asked why he would pursue Jenny and get together with her when I had told him all about her red flags. His response was, I feel like you made many mistakes and caused these issues to spiral out of control. I can handle her. I actually like these red flags. It makes things more exciting. I told him that if she was willing to cheat on me, she would cheat on him in the future as well. He said, that's totally a possibility. It's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm willing to give my girlfriends a one-time pass for cheating. I asked why he would do this to me and make my life miserable. He had 4 exes. The first 2 cheated on him multiple times, and he cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th. So I asked, you've experienced the pain of being cheated on. Why would you do this to me? His response was, I didn't think it'd be that bad. Give it some time. You'll get over it. Weren't you going to ask out that therapy girl? You're still young. There are plenty of fish in the sea. We are the same age. I asked him how the sex was, and he responded, it's all right. You can find better out there. I asked how it didn't bother him, or if he thought of me when he was with her. He said, when you have sex with enough women, you don't think about that stuff. He has also had sex with hundreds of prostitutes. I told him that Jenny and I never broke up. We only had an argument on July 30th. He said, I had no idea. He explained that she called him to see him on August 1st, 2 days after our fight, and she was all over him. That was when he knew we were over. He said, this last month, she's been living with me and staying over pretty much 70% of the time. She's my live-in girlfriend now. During this time, a few days before this phone call, my mom, who was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer around 5 years back, was told to stop taking the medications because they were no longer working, and she was too weak to receive further treatment. So she's basically on hospice care. I told Mike if he wanted to visit her one last time because I didn't know whether she'd be around after another year or not. He said he'd love to, but he can't. My last question to him was, "Am I your best friend?" He replied, "Of course, it's not even close. You helped me out during my darkest times, and I'll always remember that." I told him, "You weren't there for me during my darkest time. You were nowhere to be found. Instead, I find out you were the perpetrator all along." He said, "I'm sorry you feel that way." We ended the phone call with him telling me he's going to lay low for 6-12 months and that he won't be hanging out with me during this time. He told me not to listen to what any of my peers and family say about cutting him off, and that he'll always be friends with me, and that he cares deeply about me. He told me that during this entire time of no contact, he was actually really worried about me and wanted to check up on me, but he was really busy, and that tonight was the first time he had time to talk to me. For his final words, he said to only contact him if it pertains to separating and closing any joint accounts and bills that I still share with Jenny. If it doesn't relate to that issue, do not reach out to him. Basically, if I want to contact Jenny at all, I have to go through him first. I have also come to realize Jenny has blocked me from every social media platform, phone, etc., and she cannot be reached for me to get any sense of closure. I have since sent her 2 emails to talk and gain closure, to tell her how much I hurt her and pushed her away, that my inability and coldness drove her to seek the warmth and comfort of my best friend, that I was truly sorry for everything, and that if she wanted to move on and date him, I would give them my blessings. All I ask is for her to have one final conversation with me for closure, for our last 3 years together to mean something instead of ending in complete ghosting. I have also contacted her father, who said he would talk to me after talking to her, but he has never reached out since. I'm absolutely gutted and devastated. I've not only lost Jenny, the woman I once considered proposing to and starting a family with, but I've also lost my closest friend Mike, with whom I've shared more than half my lifetime and countless memories. Losing my girlfriend of 3 years was bad enough, but losing my best friend through this betrayal? I'm in shambles. I see them living large, going on vacations, and having the time of their lives on social media. Meanwhile, I'm here losing 2 of the closest people in my life, aside from my family, and soon my mother as well. I get nightmares of them laughing and smiling at each other while having sex on the bed I helped put together. It haunts me, and I get sleepless nights over it. Random pangs of pain hit me in the chest, keeping me wide awake. I just want to wake up from all of this and find out that none of it is real. I just don't understand how Mike could destroy my relationship so badly. This was my first ever relationship, and he just had to steal the first woman I ever loved. Update. I've done extensive research, and I've come to the conclusion that my ex-best friend Mike is a sociopath and a narcissist, while Jenny is a narcissist as well. I know these terms get thrown around a lot these days, but they fit the bill perfectly for cheaters like these 2. They hit just about every bullet point for the dark triad: psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. Basically, I couldn't thank my lucky stars enough. I'm absolutely blessed that things unfolded in such a spectacular fashion. They excised themselves from my life. They're both dead to me, and I want nothing to do with them ever again. Now for the juicy part. First off, apologies for the late update, almost a year later. But the reason for that is because those 2 betrayers are so irrelevant to me now that I just couldn't really be bothered to write up this short novel. I preface this because the rabbit hole goes deep. It's crazy, literally and figuratively. But with that being said, if you're in for a ride, strap in. We have to set the stage first with some names. Snake, ex-best friend. 4 known exes. Call them A, B, C, D, and my ex-girlfriend. E, but let's just call her Jenny. True bro, the one who reported the cheating to me. He's the mutual best friend we both have, or Snake had. Picking up from where I left off, August 28th, 2021, D-Day September 2nd, I get back on the dating apps. December 6th, I run into Snake's ex-girlfriend C, and we match. I haven't seen her since around 2016. Quick backstory. I've only met C once, but I remember her face. Snake met her on a dating app and dated her for a few months before moving on to D. I knew D from a mutual friend gathering, and I was actually interested in dating her, but Snake took over instead and started dating her even though he knew I was interested. During this time, he was still dating C, so he was two-timing for about a month before breaking up with C and officially dating D. C never truly let go of Snake. She never dated anyone else since and was still madly in love with him, becoming the stalker type. She was always calling him, asking to meet up, and he felt bad, so he would take her out to dinner and trips periodically. Snake would always confide in me about how she was constantly reaching out to him. I told him he needed to stop seeing her and cut all ties because he was wasting her time and stringing her along. End backstory. December 6th. I match with C and start talking to her, saying, "Hi, it's been a long time." She responds with, "Have you heard from Snake? What's he been up to?" I immediately think, uh-oh, the crazy ex is here. But I decided this woman has a right to know how much of an irredeemable piece of crap he is, and for her to wake up and move on. So, I arrange a meetup at a restaurant the following day. December 7th. I was nervous as hell, and had no idea what to expect or how to begin. But before dropping my bombshells on her, we exchanged some brief pleasantries. Me: "When did you two break up?" C: "Like almost a month ago." Me: "Where was the last trip you two went on?" C: "Back in early July." Conclusion: Snake never broke up with C. He was dating both C and D for the last 4-5 years. D was a friend of True Bro, so we always hung out with her. C was the bygone ex from 4 years ago that was dropped in favor of D, except she was never actually dropped. Apparently, Snake had been living with C in an apartment all these years. He would spend a few days at C's, or their place, and then a few days at D's place. C had always asked about hanging out with True Bro and me since she hadn't seen us in so many years. Snake had a divide-and-conquer strategy set up. He would hang out with his college buddies with C, and when it came to D, he would hang out with us. So a couple of months ago, Snake broke up with C and moved out to a new apartment, so he could move in with Jenny. But his name was still on the lease with C, and he still had keys to the place, so he would come and go as he pleased. Snake took C on a 2-3-day trip to the same place our group vacation was headed a week prior. Turns out, Snake likes to do multiple repeat trips with all his women on back-to-back weekends. He took C, D, and Jenny to the same places like Disney World and Universal Studios. After we compared notes and pointed out every discrepancy and lie, we parted ways. December 8th. Snake showed up unannounced at C's apartment. The night before, she had tossed out all the remaining belongings Snake had left. Snake was livid and called up True Bro to spin some lies about clearing things up with C and that they were still in a loving friendship. Sure. She changed the locks and got Snake to remove his name from the lease. Mid-December, C and I decided to visit Snake's dad to report to him what atrocities his son had committed. We both hadn't seen his father in years, and it just so happened she knew his address. So we took a shot in the dark and showed up unannounced. The father was ecstatic to see us both. He immediately asked C, "How's the relationship going? When are you two getting married?" And to me, "Hey, I haven't seen you in so long, I missed you. How have you been?" Basically, we told him everything his son had done, that not only was he not marrying C, but in fact it was over between them, as he had stolen my girlfriend and was currently living with her. Needless to say, the father was visibly distraught and devastated. Discoveries and truths uncovered. It turns out, Snake isn't rich at all. His dad, in his mid-70s and retired, sends him $1,000 a month from his own retirement and Social Security benefits to help pay for rent for the apartment with C, which is around $3,500 a month. Snake has never been employed in his life. We thought he was a trust fund baby, but he's just a lazy sack of garbage. C knows Snake does nothing but play video games 24/7, so she's the one paying for the entire rent. Basically, Snake had been using his father's money to wine and dine Jenny. Snake's mom isn't wealthy either. She does all right, but she most likely sends him some money as well. Snake has about 10 maxed out credit cards and is in $100K debt. He's basically a massive fraud and loser. Despite graduating from a prestigious Ivy League school with an advanced degree, he has never had a job since then, stating that these positions are beneath him and don't pay enough. He wants the best of the best, top 1 percentile salary, or he's not working and wasting his time. He hasn't worked since graduating back in 2017. His own father said, "I failed as a father. I raised the biggest failure in the family lineage. I never should have come to America, never should have gotten married, and never should have had this kid. He's an utter disgrace to the family name." C also asked me for Jenny's contact info because she thought Jenny got tricked and didn't want her to become a victim and go through what she did. So I gave her Jenny's info, and she forwarded Jenny the following information: lease, screenshots of texts, and phone logs of Snake blowing up C's phone in the middle of the night, leaving texts saying he wants to get back together with her. Some highlights include Snake telling C he hoped to live in a mansion in the future where A, B, C, D, and E could live together under one roof and get along. This man was trying to amass a harem and wanted to add Jenny to his collection. Instead of thanking C, Jenny called her up to badmouth me, telling her to stop hanging out with me and that I'm a bad person. Apparently, Snake told Jenny that he still had to periodically check on C to make sure she was handling the breakup all right and to ease her pain. He has previously stated that he maintains close friendships with all his exes, treats them to dinners once in a while, and that all his exes wanted to get back together with him. Some extra tidbits about Snake. Snake has made inappropriate sexual advances on the wife of one of True Bro's best friends while he was still with DD, and the wife are best friends, so he was blatantly making a move on the wife while D was in the house. This transgression was swept under the rug as a one-time isolated incident. He's also had a history of making moves on other married women. He keeps nude pictures of his exes, particularly of ex-girlfriend A, on a password-encrypted hard drive that he views every so often. I asked him why he still views them. Was she the one that got away? His response: "No, nothing like that. A is the same age as us. I don't want a 30s woman, she's old and washed up now." He went on to say he's merely admiring the pinnacle of the female physique in her 18-year-old prime when they first got together in college. He said she was his greatest conquest, and he's never going to be able to tap the ass of another 18-year-old, so he enjoys this body of art. Snake pays for prostitutes everywhere he goes. He tried to get me to lose my virginity on my 30th birthday to one, but I turned him down after he brought me to the brothel. The conclusion is that Jenny and Snake are both lost causes and deserve each other. May they enter a relationship of mutual assured destruction. After that incident, the rest are pretty mundane. Apparently C's birthday is also in April, like Jenny's. He called C and left a voicemail wishing her a happy birthday. Meanwhile, Jenny called C as well, continuing to tell her to get a hold of me to clear up some unfinished business. I find it hilarious and insane that both of them are reaching out to C. Fast forward to today. I'm at a point of indifference. If they break up, that's cool. If they don't, that's also great. At least they won't drag down any new victims. They're both pathetic, and what everyone told me a year ago came true. Time is the healer of all wounds, and I've simply stopped caring about them. I'm much happier for it. I can't promise that if I run into Snake on the streets, I won't buckle under the emotions and go after him, but luckily I haven't seen him since. Otherwise, life's been good. From being a 31-year-old virgin to having the ultimate crash course in heartbreak, betrayal, cheating, and everything under the hood in 2.5 years. Dealing with sociopaths and narcissists, I couldn't have asked for a better lesson. It left me with nothing but positives. I've never been married, no kids, no STDs, still able-bodied, didn't lose money, and exposed a 20-plus-year-old backstabbing Snake that was hiding a dagger behind his back the entire time. I dived into books about human psychology, relationships, self-help, and self-improvement topics, and watched countless videos and podcasts on all these subjects. It's opened my eyes, and I am that much wiser for it. Edit. Another dark story that I've forgotten about and decided to tack on here since it's pretty niche. If anyone has played Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's a video game on the Nintendo Switch where you own a small island that you can design to your liking, and other people can visit and run around and do activities together. Long story short, Jenny lived with me during the pandemic of March 2020, so when the game came out, we both were playing that as well as Snake. We would always laugh and poke fun at Snake for making a female avatar with long black hair. For as much as he plays, he's surprisingly ignorant about the game mechanics when we play together. However, he still managed to make his island into a 5-star rated resort. It's an in-game rating system, the highest level. Come to find out, it was because C was playing the game the entire time. Anytime we would ask him to co-op, whether to visit his island or ask him to visit us, he would grab the Switch from C and then play with us. I just found this revelation extremely unsettling and a chilling example of how cold and calculated this monster is. The conclusion is that Jenny and Snake are both lost causes and truly deserve each other. May they enter a relationship of mutual assured destruction, filled with the chaos and drama they both seem to thrive on. They're a perfect match. Two peas in a pod, each feeding off the other's toxic traits and manipulative tendencies. They've both shown their true colors, and it's clear that neither of them is capable of genuine love or loyalty. Their relationship is a ticking time bomb, and I can only hope that when it eventually explodes, it's spectacularly destructive, just like the way they've treated everyone around them. After that incident, the rest of the updates are pretty mundane. Apparently, C's birthday is also in April, like Jenny's. Snake, in his usual fashion, called C and left a voicemail wishing her a happy birthday. Meanwhile, Jenny called C as well, continuing to tell her to get a hold of me to clear up some unfinished business. The audacity of these two still reaching out to C after everything is both hilarious and insane. It's like they're living in some twisted reality where their actions have no consequences, and they can just manipulate everyone around them without any repercussions. Fast forward to today, I'm at a point of indifference. If Jenny and Snake break up, that's cool. If they don't, that's also great. At least they won't drag down any new victims into their web of lies and deceit. They're both pathetic, and what everyone told me a year ago has come true. Time is the healer of all wounds, and I've simply stopped caring about them. I'm much happier for it. I can't promise that if I run into Snake on the streets, I won't buckle under the emotions and go after him, but luckily, I haven't seen him since. Otherwise, life's been good. From being a 31-year-old virgin to having the ultimate crash course in heartbreak, betrayal, cheating, and everything under the hood in just 2.5 years, dealing with sociopaths and narcissists, I couldn't have asked for a better lesson. It left me with nothing but positives. I've never been married, no kids, no STDs, still able-bodied, didn't lose money, and exposed a 20-plus-year-old backstabbing snake that was hiding a dagger behind his back the entire time. I dived into books about human psychology, relationships, self-help, and self-improvement topics, and watched countless videos and podcasts on all these subjects. It's opened my eyes, and I am that much wiser for it. The knowledge I've gained has been invaluable, and I've used it to better myself in ways I never thought possible. Edit. Another dark story that I've forgotten about and decided to tack on here since it's pretty niche. If anyone has played Animal Crossing, New Horizons, it's a video game on the Nintendo Switch where you own a small island that you can design to your liking, and other people can visit and run around and do activities together. Long story short, Jenny lived with me during the pandemic of March 2020, so when the game came out, we both were playing that as well as Snake. We would always laugh and poke fun at Snake for making a female avatar with long black hair. For as much as he plays, he's surprisingly ignorant about the game mechanics when we play together. However, he still managed to make his island into a 5-star rated resort. It's an in-game rating system, the highest level. Come to find out, it was because C was playing the game the entire time. Anytime we would ask him to co-op, whether to visit his island or ask him to visit us, he would grab the Switch from C and then play with us. I just found this revelation extremely unsettling and a chilling example of how cold and calculated this monster is. It's another stark reminder of the kind of person Snake really is. Someone who deceives and manipulates without a second thought, using others to achieve his own ends. This incident, though seemingly small, is just another piece of the puzzle that paints a picture of a deeply troubled and morally bankrupt individual.